Hello there and welcome back. This is another 8th grade math video. In this video, we're going to be focusing on how to do division with numbers that are written in scientific notation. Okay, here is the first one we're going to do together. We're going to take 4 times 10 to the third divided by 2 times 10 to the first. So what we're going to do to make this easier is we are going to actually separate them because both of them are being multiplied or they're already separated into their factors. So we're going to separate them and rewrite it like this. 4 over 2 times 10 to the third over 10 to the first. That's going to help us see what each individual division problem would give us as an answer. So let's take the first one. The first one is 4 divided by 2, which is 2. So we have that there. We'll bring down the times. And then if you've seen some of my previous videos about dividing with exponents, you know that if the base is the same, which in this case it is, what I can do is I can switch one of these to become a negative to do the division. Usually the smaller one is the one that you want to do it with. So I'm going to go ahead and take this 1 and I'm going to move it up here as -1. Then I'm going to replace this with a 1. Okay, so 10 times 3 minus 1, or the 3 minus 1 ends up being 10 to the second. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite that as 10 to the second over 1, and then anything over 1 is just that answer. So this is going to be 10 to the second. So anytime that you want to divide when the base is the same and you have an exponent, the most ideal thing to do is to move the smaller one up to the larger one and use subtraction, or to take the smaller one from the bottom or from the top down to the bottom. So now we just need to check to see if this is already in scientific notation, and it is. The way that I know it is because I only have one digit that represents a whole number. So the final answer to this would be 2 times 10 to the second. Okay, here's our next example. We're going to divide 5 times 10 to the third by 5 times 10 to the first. So again, I'm going to rewrite it. I'm going to rewrite it as 5 over 5 times 10 to the third divided by 10 to the first. Okay, so on the left, we have 5 divided by 5, which is 1. I'm going to bring down the times. We're going to keep the base of 10, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the 1 up here and subtract it from the 3 and then cross this off. So 3 minus 1 is 2. So that means this is 10 to the second power. So the final answer here would be 1 times 10 to the second. Okay, here's our next example. We have 2 times 10 to the negative first, and then 4 times 10 to the eighth. Okay, so let's go ahead and rewrite this as two separate factors. 2 over 4, and then 10 to the negative first over 10 to the eighth. Okay, so 2 divided by 4 is 1/2, or 0.5. So we're going to rewrite that as a decimal because scientific notation does use decimals. So we'll do that times. And now what I can do is I need to move this 8 up here. Ideally, when you're dividing, you kind of want to move the smaller one to the other side. But in this case, because I can't end up with a fraction as scientific notation. I need to end up with a base that has is not a fraction, as a base is a whole number. I'm going to move the 8 up, but I'm going to subtract it from the 1 and then cross this off. So we're going to keep this as 10, and then -1 minus 8 is -9. Notice that this answer is not yet in scientific notation. In order for it to be in scientific notation, we can only have one digit in the whole number spot. And right now we don't have anything. We have a 0. So we need that 5 to be in the whole number spot, which means I need to move the decimal one more space this way. What that ends up doing is meaning if I have to move it one more time, instead of -9, this is going to be -10. So my final answer becomes 5 times 10 to the -10th. Okay, here is our next one. We're going to take 6 times 10 to the -7th and 6 times 10 to the third. And again, we are going to separate these and then divide. So I'm going to rewrite this as 6 over 6 times 10 to the -7th over 10 to the third. So 6 divided by 6 is 1. So I'm going to leave that there. Bring down the times. I'm going to move the 10 to the third to the top part of the fraction and then subtract it right there and then cross this off. So that leaves us with 10, and then -7 and -3 is -10. So now I just need to check to see if that is in proper scientific notation, and it is because we have a whole number digit. And so this would be our final answer, 1 times 10 to the -10th. Okay, here is our last one for today's video. We're going to take 3 times 10 to the first and divide it by 5 times 10 to the 10th. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite these as separate factors. 3 divided by 5 times 10 to the first divided by 10 to the 10th. So 3 divided by 5 as a decimal ends up being 0.6. So I'm going to write that down here, 0.6 times. Now I need to get rid of this 10 to the 10th on the bottom. So I'm going to move this exponential number up and subtract it from the top exponential number and cross it off. So that leaves us with 10, and then 1 minus 10 is -9. Okay, so that's not quite yet in proper scientific notation. To be in proper scientific notation, we would have to move the decimal over here. So we'd have a 6 in front of the times symbol. And since I had to move that decimal one place, that means I have to go up here and change the exponential number to -10, add one more place for it to be moved. So this is going to be 10 to the -10th. Final answer would be 6 times 10 to the -10th power. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you in another video soon.